I've been getting a lot of requests about this thing, and I'm gonna basically show you the entire workflow when it comes down to these Microsoft Surface boards. As you may have known from my previous videos, often enough the component that is storing all of the data for the Microsoft Surface, except for the very early models, is located on board. Here we have two pad locations here and here for the SSDs. This is a 512 gigabyte or smaller, I'm guessing. That's why there's only one chip. The second position is empty. Now, the challenge with this case consists of a couple of things. The biggest one being removing this component without causing it too much damage. The boards on this thing are pretty thick, and often enough, if you're not using a bottom preheater, you're going to be exposing the chip to a lot of heat, a lot of stress, and removal, even at 400 degrees, will take a little bit of time. So what I've been using and what I highly recommend getting is a preheater such as this one, made by Sofix. It's a little pricey, but this thing works magic. It's very powerful, and I've had nothing but success ever since I started using these things. So it's got clamps to hold the board down. It's got the heated mat here. Your adjustments are done with these buttons here. And yeah, you just kind of would need to figure out some fume extraction, I guess, because it's going to get smelly if you put some flux on there, like I will. So once we remove this component, we can either transfer it to an SSD board if you don't have a specialized socket. And the SSD boards, you can get a donor for like for some chips like the Toshiba. You can use a WD SN520. Underneath this sticker is the exact same chip, and you can just reball it right onto it and access it that way. But the fastest way, and probably the easiest way, is to use an adapter like this. This I purchased that from Dolphin. There are two types of adapters that you may need to get, because some chips only can be read with a specialized Surface adapter, and that is for SK Hynix. For today's case, that's exactly what we're going to use, because this chip is made by SK Hynix. These sockets are used for other chips like Samsung and Toshiba, Intel as well. I set it up, and when it starts, we get this LED screen light up. I have a small CPU selected. I'm gonna adjust my clamps. And hit start, and the stop changes to heating. So this process is gonna have like a progress bar running. It's gonna gradually heat up, keep it at a certain temperature, allowing us to rework the chip, remove it safely while it's properly warmed up. So eventually the preheating runs up all the way, and it switches to this baking indication. So at this point we got time to safely work on the chip and have it removed. Often enough, what I will do is cut this metal frame out of the way so I can sneak the spatula underneath the chip when I'm lifting it up. But in this case, I don't think that's going to be needed, because we don't have a component on this side, and there's plenty of space to go from that location. got the chip completely removed, and it's time to clean it up. Then we take the braid to clean up the rest of that solder off so that the chip is completely flat. Gonna use a bigger iron tip. So for the prep, that's pretty much all you gotta do. From the chip removal to full cleaning, and now it's ready for the adapter. I got two chips here. One is just the one that we removed, and this is the second one that is control. I haven't used this adapter in a while, so I just want to make sure that there wasn't any like flux stuck to it, and that we can read the controlled SSD right away. So on the SSD itself, there is a mark for the key indicated by that little circle that needs to point to the triangle. When we line them up, this goes in, and we just got to lock this up. That goes into PCI Express adapter for PC3000 or any other adapter for that matter. And when we plug in that unit into port 0, I'm going to go ahead and power it up. We get PHY light, and if we enter the universal utility, we should get some type of recognition here. We can see it's a 512 gigabyte SSD, and to test the reading, we can go into sector edit, and we can see we have access. This device is readable and accessible. Now, it's not a rare situation where Surface will stop working because the SSD is defective. The only way for me to find out whether it's defective or not is to remove the SSD and test it in a test socket. So test socket goes in for the one that we just pulled up. I plug it in and fire it up. All right, so when we see consumption at around 450, but no PHY light comes on, usually that indicates an issue. And the issue may or may not get resolved by attaching it to SK Hynix board and applying heat to the device gradually until we maybe find that better parameter for the power by altering the temperature that it's running under. But for now, this SSD is considered to be defective, and most likely the reason why the Surface stopped working is because of the problem on the inside of this unit. In my opinion, the logic board in this situation is probably fine, since the problem seems to be originating from the SSD.